What is up, everybody? Jester here, and today we're going to answer the age-old question: how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. Today we're starting Permadeath, the hardest mode in all of No Man's Sky, and I'm going to show you guys step by step how it's not nearly as difficult as you think, and there's a cool achievement that not many people have. There's so much to cover today. Let's get into it. This all got started as I was looking through my achievements for No Man's Sky on Steam, and unlike my Xbox account, I'm missing some here, and most of them are pretty simple. There's Planet Zoology a few times, which just means some more scans, Extreme Survival. Technically, I haven't beaten the game in survival mode because I started it and turned it into creative mode just for a laugh. The one I want to focus on today, though, is Permadeath, because Permadeath comes with its own achievement to live forever. Only 0.7% of all players that have ever played the game on Steam have this achievement, less than 1%. So super rare. I assume PlayStation and Xbox are going to be really similar numbers when it comes down to it. It's going to be a pretty rare one. And today we're going to start the journey of showing you how I'm going to go about doing it, whether it's the best way or not the best way. But I think if you make good decisions and you plan ahead, you shouldn't have any trouble with this. But I kind of wanted to figure out how I wanted to do this so I could be kept honest and you guys can see me do it. To keep all these episodes in a nice short form content, I've actually decided to break with Let's Play tradition, and we're actually going to be streaming this live on Twitch. The link for that's in the description. Follows are absolutely free. But after this first episode, the only time I will touch this save is if it is live on Twitch. So anybody that wants to come and keep me honest as far as the rules I'm about to set for myself, absolutely. It's always fun to see people from the community come over and say hi, and you can watch the long form. But what this does is give me the ability to cut that down into smaller, more bite-sized episodes that are more goal-oriented, so you guys don't have to sit through the long stuff if you don't want to. And I think that's going to be the good way to go about it. As far as the rules go for this run, simple. No cheating, no duplicating, no mods, and I'm even going to go as far as to say we can't get anything from the Quicksilver vendor because it wouldn't necessarily be available for all of you guys, and it's a little disingenuous to go over there and just claim like a Utopia speeder and be able to fly it around and or sell it, have a ton of units. That's kind of disingenuous, and it's not really conducive to the Permadeath run. I want the challenge, and I want you guys to have the challenge, so let's do this right. But again, anybody that wants to keep me honest, come on over to Twitch. I'll be more than happy to see you. With all that stuff being said, though, let's go play some freaking Permadeath. To get your Permadeath run started, simply go in and hit play and start a new tab. This is going to bring you to the game mode, and for whatever reason, they don't actually have Permadeath listed anymore. So to get here, you need to go into the custom and then come up here to your difficulty, and we're going to scroll over until we see Permadeath. From there, I'm not going to change a darn thing, and we're going to go down, confirm, and we're going to start the game. I think that at its core, Permadeath is really a challenge in resource management and making good decisions and kind of finding that balance. Sure, No Man's Sky limits the size of your stacks to 500. You can only refine so much stuff at a time, and the resources are pretty limited. But making good decisions will counter that, and paying attention to your load screen, very important and good decision. On the right there, you can see it just barely, but that's a cave. That's going to be super advantageous if you find one of those in your view. We'll get into that here in a minute. But even if you don't see one, it's still very survivable here. As you're scanning around, you just need to take a peek. How am I getting my carbon? How am I getting my ferrite dust? Those are two really important early things. Is that a red plant for oxygen for life support? Is that a yellow plant for hazard protection? These things matter, especially when this planet will try to kill you within about the first 3 minutes if you don't do something quickly. Right when you land, you should be attacking, because like I said, you've only got a few minutes here before your hazard protection wears down. The first two things you're looking for is at least 50 carbon as well as 75 ferrite dust. Make those your absolute priority, because that's going to allow you to go looking for sodium. With those resources in inventory, just hover over the scanner, repair that with the ferrite dust, and then go back over to your exosuit, find an empty slot, and craft a carbon nanotube. This way you can come back to the multi-tool and you can put in your analysis visor. You got to have these anyway. It's great to get them out of the way early. With everything all fixed up, you just come out, perform a scan. It's going to point you right in the direction of some sodium. You can then use that to directly charge up your hazard protection. And even if you didn't have a cave, you'd be fine. But we've got a cave and I'm going to be greedy. We're going to go check that out. A cave is really a blessing early on in a Permadeath run. It recharges your hazard protection for free and has tons of resources. In this case, I'm seeing tons of carbon, and guys, I'm not going to skimp here. I'm going to grab about 2 stacks, so about 1,000 of this, because I never have enough, and we want to grab it while we see it. Another great thing to get in caves are the hazardous flora. They're either going to drop oxygen or sodium, both of which we can use for different things. The oxygen for your life support, the sodium for your hazard protection for when we're out in the wild. Another good thing to grab in a cave is going to be marrow bulb. This can be directly refined into sodium, so if you see these, go ahead and pick these up, as long as you got a good source of carbon. Again, things we can make money with now. We found these humming sacks that have albumin pearls. Now, you might find something like vortex cubes. They're not quite as valuable, but these are actually pretty good. They're like 100,000 a stack, so it's a really good find. You can then use your analysis visor to kind of scan around and see if you can find any more of them. These are really, really good and an easy source of money early. Another thing you can do in a cave, I guess, is grab cobalt, but this has been nerfed into the ground so hard, it's ridiculous, and I really don't feel like it's worth all that much time, but if you've got time and a good source of carbon, it's not a horrible thing to do. It'll make you some money, at least to get started with. After about 20 minutes kind of messing around in that cave, you can see I've got a stack and a half of those albumin pearls. That's about 150K. I'm feeling pretty good about that. It gives me some early money. But now that that's all finished up, it's time for us to actually head over to our starship. On your way, so long as your hazard protection permits you to, stop at all these damaged containers and take the rusted metal. This is going to be a huge game changer for us coming up, and you also get some other random resources too. When I arrived at the crash site, the first thing I did was grab the oxygen plants that are usually at the crash site. This way I know I've got enough oxygen, even if I didn't already, to make the refiner that's coming up. And then I basically just interact with everything, everything from the beacon here to the damaged machinery that we're going to take the viscous fluid. Trust me, you don't want to this early, and probably ever for that matter. We go check all the containers, take the rusted metal. Then we went into inventory and we made one more metal plating, and then we laid down a refiner. Let's get to making some ferrite dust. Getting in our ship, we realize everything's broke, but isn't it crazy? We need stuff like pure ferrite and metal plating to fix it. Gosh, if we'd only thought ahead and knew that rusted metal trick was going to come back in handy, and we had all the ferrite dust we really needed and a ton of carbon to make sure we could refine it. Look, I see a cave. I'm going to go get more money. After re-refining some ferrite dust into pure ferrite, now I want to show you that indeed the cave marrow bulb does go straight into the refiner and become sodium. I mean, this is free sodium. You're in there anyway, you might as well pick it up. I don't really want to spend much time on this. Just delete the viscous fluids and the slimes. Viscous fluid goes to 1-to-1 to slime. Slime goes 1-to-1 to runaway mold. And then it's 5-to-1 runaway mold to a nanite. You're getting like 15. It's a waste of time. With all the things in inventory, we can now fix 3 out of the 4 ship parts, but not quite everything. But that does trigger the next event that leads us to the 4th part. When prompted, go back to the beacon here at your crash site, re-interact. You're going to get a planetary chart. From there, plot the route. It takes you straight to the hermetic seal. This is kind of a dangerous trip. One of the last big dangerous things, at least in my opinion, for permadeath. 1,000 U away and you're going to get stormed on halfway through every time. Doesn't matter. Make sure you got plenty of sodium and you're fully recharged on your hazard protection from sitting in your ship. I think if you guys get past here, you're kind of in control of your own destiny. So prepare well and you'll make it. While on your trip, go as straight a line as you possibly can and do not stop for nothing. It doesn't matter. You're going to be coming a straight line back anyway, so you'll be able to pick up anything that you see and you missed. It's more important to get there. I can't express this enough. Don't take the storm lightly. Your hazard protection and stuff is terrible. I mean, even me, I was trying to make it on principle in one charge, and right as I get here, I take damage. That took half my shield down in one little touch. You get stuck out in that, and you're gone. Grab the hermetic seal from the Hollow Archive. Now you've got everything you need to fix your ship. There's nothing left to do but stand and play around with your flashlight. It does weird things in different directions and wait for the storm to pass. After mining up quite a few things on the return trip, including quite a bit of dihydrogen, I wanted to go ahead and make an extra Starship launch fuel because we're going to be landing on a planet before we get to the place we're going to make our base at, and we're not going to have enough. So it's just better to go ahead and get it done here while we got the resources and be good with it. But from there, guys, we're done on the planet. It's time. We can finally take off and head to space. If you happen to see an asteroid field, go ahead and mine some tritium up. That's free pulse engine stuff, plus a little gold and silver. It's a little extra change in your pocket. Eventually, while in space, you will get the message, and this will lead you to your next objective, which is going to be getting the base computer and the terrain manipulator parts. And I see that this is on the planet that we just came from, but I also saw the space station, and you can't see that until that part of the quest comes up. But since we saw it, let's head over there and check it out. Checking out the trade terminal, we were able to sell a lot of those things we found in the cave, the albumin pearl, the cobalt, some of that gold and silver. We got all the way up to 231,000 units, which I thought was excellent for this point in the gameplay. The problem is that if you go to buy anything, there's really just not much to buy. They really do tone down how much you can buy in these, and it sucks, but we are going to pick up some pyrite. That'll be good for our pulse engine. After arriving to the signal source from our little detour to the space station, we were ready to go ahead and get the plans for the base computer and the terrain manipulator. But what goes further than that is we're actually ready to install the terrain manipulator right now because we thought ahead. And this is what it all comes down to. Because we have enough dihydrogen to make the jelly, and we also have enough carbon to make 2 nanotubes, we can now just go ahead and install this, and it's absolutely done. Ready to go. Now we just got to go find a place to call home, and we'll be good. The lack of a lush planet was kind of a bummer here, but mostly what I'm looking for is just a planet that doesn't have aggressive sentinels. A lot of times you'll see that when it comes to permadeath. Here we find this frozen planet. It'll be fine. We'll just have to manage our hazard protection. But once we do finally get down into atmosphere, we're kind of looking for something pretty specific here. You can always just fly around. It's absolutely free. It takes nothing but time to fly around and use your scanner in your ship, and you'll be directed to these different points of interest. But like I said, we're going to be looking for something that not a lot of people, I think, would look for as a home base. It could be really tempting from time to time if you happen across one of these, which is the actual spaceport. You could absolutely do this. I find they're a little big for me, so I tend to shy away from them. What I tend to look for is what we're going to see here. It's going to be the minor settlement. This gives you a landing pad, and it also gives you access to a galactic terminal. So that way you can buy and sell things. It may not be everything you want, but this is as good a place to start as any, and we should be pretty safe here to do it. Plenty of shelter. The minor settlements are really cool find either way if you want to base here or not. They've got multi-tool weapons cabinets. In this case, the Theory of War is a C-class. We'll pass on that. There's also this technology guy that sells blueprints and components to craft blueprints. And in this case, I'm actually tempted for 75 nanites for the advanced mining laser. We get it a little early this way, so if we run into runaway mold or something, we can actually get that now. Or we can harvest things like pure ferrite, stuff like that. It's not a bad purchase at this point in the game. We also have access to the galactic trade terminal, as mentioned, and looky here, we get some nanites, and oddly, it's almost the same amount that we just spent. And I think this is where I'm actually going to leave you guys for day one. We got a lot accomplished. We got off the planet. We got good resource independence. We're struggling a little bit with oxygen, but we'll get that figured out in the next episode. And speaking of that, we're going to be going out and getting chromatic metal. We're going to be doing base archives, going up to the space station. We're going to be meeting aliens. It's going to be a really good time. If you guys are into that, like the video and subscribe to the channel because we've got tons more of this coming, as well as a few other surprises along the way. And I hope you guys want to be there for that. And hopefully this does inspire you guys to do your own permadeath runs, because I don't think it's quite as hard as everybody makes it out to be. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.